Truck drivers rejoice. Joel Wagner from Daimler Trucks Perth has all you need to make your job look easier than Tony Modra sitting on blokes' heads taking a Freo specky. Joel is in charge of the Fuso truck range and is ready to make your dreams come true on the road. Inquire about the 515 Kansas City cabs, which have been very popular as a ute alternative. The 515 has more tray space and payload than a ute, is drivable on a car license, and has car-like safety features. To top it off, there is a whopping 5-year, 200,000 kilometre warranty, which makes this beast more reliable than paid West Coast Eagles inside 50 free kicks during a Western Derby. So if you're looking to smarten up your transportation from car licensed light trucks to prime movers, contact Joel at jwagner@daimlertrucksperth.com.au or ask for Joel on 9311 7400. Don't forget to mention the Purple Rain to receive the Purple Love treatment.
Hello and welcome to episode 4, season 5 of the Purple Rain with Duck and Oz.
Hey,
it's been a while between drinks in terms of the old review. Yeah, it's been. Between the review shows, mate. It's been about 12 weeks. We've had the redockables in between, mate. We've done our Purple Patch podcast last Thursday. It's a little bit of a pre-season. A little bit of a warm-up. I believe I thought we were playing Gold Coast this week, mate. Well, next week. And we're playing Port at Gold Coast.
Don't worry, mate. I thought we were playing on Sunday.
Hub mind, mate. What, this week?
No, last week I thought, yeah, playing Sunday. Had this argument with someone at work. Yeah. No, playing Sunday. Saturday. Yeah, okay.
Doesn't matter.
No, mate.
Mate, what a game to get us back into it. Very similar to the Essendon game in which just let Brisbane get a bit of a head start. We love the old handicap. We like the Stalwart gift, mate, starting on the back marker. And then slowly clawed it back after they burst out of the blocks in the third quarter as well. So I don't know what J-Lo's saying to the boys, but he's obviously not getting them up and about because they're coming out very flat. But he doesn't seem like the motivational type, unfortunately, J-Lo. He's a very mild-mannered dude. Maybe they need like a rev-up man.
A specialised rev-up man?
Yeah, like a, Flavor Flav. He was the hype man, wasn't he, for Public Enemy?
The huge clock.
Yeah.
I like where your head's at here. A specialised
hype man.
Rev/hype man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's always weird because the modern game, they're like, well, we don't need to be motivated. You should be motivated enough. But I think in footy in particular, the guy to get him up and about, get him in close, boys, in close.
Yeah, I've seen those videos.
How about it, 1 year? Stuff like that. You got 15 minutes, 80 minutes, 80 minutes of life, 80 minutes to give it all you got.
Don't tell me you didn't give one. Did you ever give one of those speeches?
Mate, I used to be a big rah-rah. I still am a bit of that. I gave one of those today in the mighty year 8 footy guys. Told them about how life's all about hard work. If you don't want to do the hard work, boys, go home and lay in bed.
Yeah.
Just lay in bed and lay there forever because life's hard. If you don't want to do the tough things.
I still remember a game just before Aquinas. Like, they were undefeated. Like, they looked pretty unbeatable. And I gave one of these talks, and I just talked about my grandfather's legacy as a rat of Tobruk. And I talked about basically how he jumped in a truck that was on fire in an army, in a ammo dump depot. And this fuel truck was on fire next to the cache. And if it explodes, it's freaking curtains. And he jumps in this truck that's on fire. He catches fire. He's like 3rd-degree burns all over his body. And he just drives this bloody truck like under fire or whatever. Anyway, long story short, getting the lads fired up. Mate, I've never seen a group of lads respond.
Yeah.
And
loved it.
The motto was like, get in the truck. Get in the truck!
Get in the truck. Now, Oz, are you saying that we should be the Dockers hype people?
I think so.
Are you saying that we should be shipped, not flown, shipped to the Gold Coast to hype up the boys, get them G'd up
so
they don't start so flat?
The semi-trailer's already gone. I think we missed the boat.
They can't charter a flight, Kerry Stokes style?
No.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We can't be on a flight, first flight to Gold Coast. hyping up the boys. Once they hear this podcast, they'll be hyped up.
Yeah.
I was the Fremantle Dockers, if you haven't watched the game, guys, 10-9-69, defeated by the Brisbane Lions, 12-9-81 by 12 points. Let's get into the GBU. Look, speaking of a bit of a hype, look, really, really impressed by the boys' never say die attitude. I like that we continue to fight, continue to, grip and grind and get through it, and it looks like we shouldn't be in the game whatsoever. Outplayed for large parts, but still we're in the game. Within striking distance, always a sniff.
Ugh.
I mean, if the Dockers haven't turned from... I mean, they were always a sniff under Roscoe, but we've become Sniff O'Clock.
Yeah.
We should change our name to or like maybe the mascot instead of Johnny Docker.
Yeah.
Should just be a giant nose.
And where was the nose, by the way? I expected a nose from you.
Oh, mate, I was down at the pub, mate, and I drank a lot of beers. Let's just say I had the handles, and they were pouring pretty quickly down at the old Fenway. Mate, they were going thick and fast, mate. Look, just into some of the players, the individual efforts. Really impressed by, obviously, Sonny and Fife. Between them, 52 disposals, 8 tackles, 6 inside 50s, 7 clearances and 5 goals won. Too much down to these two Buttos, and especially in the first quarter, they weren't really firing. And I know Darcy Tucker stepped up a bit, but look, we really, really struggled in the first quarter, and it was very much if you can stop one of Fife or Walters, I think you pretty much got the Dockers locked down, but really impressed, and that shows what type of players they are, that they can have a little bit of an average first quarter. And I thought Walters even turned it over a lot. Fife had 2 touches in the first quarter, and look, they just turned it around, and there was a lot of one playing forward, one playing in the mid, and the problem is, and this is what I discuss, we need like one more Fife,
yes,
and we need one more Walters,
yeah.
And it's something we'll talk about a little bit later on. Look, Logue did a great job on Charlie Cameron once getting switched to him. Unfortunately, young Ethan Hughes got a bit of a bath, but Logue did quite a good job. Tabs, I thought, was okay, mate. 2 goals, 3. His goal kicking does let him down, and we'll talk about the Margetts incident, as we can call it, a little later on. There's plenty of questions about that, old Dino, and there may have been a couple of angry tweets by you and myself. I think my tweet was Dean Margaret's is a cheat. Auto-corrected. I was a couple deep, mate. More than a couple. Look, Ace showed a lot. Really liked Ace, and I thought he was one of the ones that actually got us back in the game. 26 disposals, 3 rebounds from 53, inside 50, solid wingman, and an actual smart player, Oz. Surprising. I honestly think we have a lot of guys who don't know how to play football properly or don't have football brains. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because it's been drilled into them by Roscoe or what's happening down at training. But there's a lot of guys who don't seem to know how to play football very well and make stupid decisions and, make really basic errors all the time, which is quite frustrating. Look, didn't mind Young's debut. He was never going to set the world on fire. So yeah, that was it. Any other good that I missed, mate, that you any individuals or anything that really
look, very quickly,
you?
as you were saying, you can go good and bad on this guy, but I'm going to start with Tabs. You said, look, I agree with you. Structurally, he's important to the team, and I think we need to remember this fact, that he is not the best player in the team. He's 8 years in. What you get from Tabs is what you're going to get from Tabs.
Yeah, that's his peak.
That's his peak.
His peak's about 3
again,
goals.
Nothing wrong with that. Easily could have been 3 GT. Sort of was 2 GT, couple of brain fart moments, and we understand that. I was curious as to why he started to run away without the ball, like he needs that, like that passage on the wing. Also takes a mark inside the square, doesn't shepherd it through. Yeah, I understand that, blah, blah, blah. But structurally, he's important, height-wise. So, yes, there. I thought, again, Lob, once he went into the ruck, once Darcy went down, again, the momentum started swinging. We started seeing that once again. Going back to what you're saying before, statement, could be wrong, but I think Aish is becoming by far the most important recruit that we've had in a number of years. And the reason being is exactly what you said, like his ability to read the play, push the ball forward, but he's also got skills and is able to back up.
Didn't cost much either.
No.
Didn't cost anything, and it was a bit of a salary dump by Collingwood. But that, it's a handy player to pick up, and he's a good player, and he's a lot... he's a lot better than some of the guys we've got running around with us, mate.
And look, touch wood quickly. We need players that haven't either ever had an injury before or, I don't know, less likely to get an injury while in isolation.
Yeah.
So,
Mate, we'll talk about that in the dockery. Look, bad. Look, we're just carrying too many players still, Oz. I know we've got a number of players out, and we'll talk about that in terms of the guys in the best 22 or guys that would be around that 22 to 25, that we're just carrying too many players. And our younger guys, there's a lot of they're showing a little bit here and there, but they're not showing enough. And Fife and Walters are carrying the team. They're kicking majority of the goals. You know, they kicked half our goals, and they had 52 possessions between them as well. So, I mean, you take Aish out of that equation, and it's looking a bit grim. Look, the efforts at the end of the end of the game, I thought were pretty poor. I'm going to single a guy out who actually had a pretty good game, but Luke Ryan, to me, his effort where Berry outmarked him when he was running towards the ball, that to me just stood out as a real lack of, like, I don't know what it is. It's kind of determination and want to win. Like, do you want to win the game? The game is there to be won, and you let a bloke on his debut take a mark over you. Like running the opposite way. Yeah. You know, and I know that maybe he's tired, maybe but it's the want and the desire and the will to win. That's where that comes from, mate. You're telling me that a guy like Luke Hodge, Maxwell from Collingwood, like all these guys who were solid players, but really just their will to win. I know, like, you know, Michael Voss, you think he'd let anyone take that mark? You know, like you cannot, Matthew Pavlich, you know, do you reckon someone's marking over him, especially a debutant? You know, you cannot let someone take that mark over you. He gets that mark, we're off and going because it's a rebound straight away. Instead, Berry takes a mark, go back, kick the point. You know, and it's just stuck in that forward 50. Just
quickly picking on your footy brain here, Duck. From what I saw, it looked like whoever it was that was meant to be either shepherding out or using body on whoever it was, Berry, to protect Ryan. There was no protection of the space. And then Ryan tried to take a chest mark, which I'd like to pick your brain here. Like,
yeah, look, I don't mind the chest mark, but it's just the want. It's the want. It ends up coming down to who wants it more, Oz. Because Ryan has his name written all over it, and then he goes in half-assed, you know, and Berry comes running back and takes the mark. And it's like, you've just got to get your knee up and win that ball. As a guy who's played about 50 games now, and is actually experienced because he's about 25, comes in as a mature recruit, he's got to win that ball. And you got to stamp your authority every now and again, you know, and it really is a bit worrying when you don't see those guys, and it's that lackadaisical attitude that a few of the defenders have, that you need to see, hey, let's be professional, let's be determined, and let's actually have some ruthlessness as well, you know, and it's a bit frustrating, and it's that kind of lackadaisical attitude that I think actually sets us on the back foot every game so far. It's been, yeah, we're playing, yeah, you know, and that's maybe why they need the hype men in me and you. Mate, Oz, I've got this for you, mate. I think we've got 8 to 10 blokes that played on the weekend that wouldn't get a game for another club in the AFL. I honestly do, mate. You know, I don't want to single out any individuals, but I think there are 8 to 10 guys in that team. And Dockers fans out there, just go through it in your head. And there's 8 to 10 guys who I think would not get a game on another team in the AFL at the moment. I really do. And that's including Adelaide. That's including, you know, Gold Coast, who had a good win on the weekend. You know, I just really think we've got these guys who are poorly skilled. They try hard. Oh, awesome. They try hard. But they've got poor skills and they have no footy brain. And it's forever frustrating, mate. And it'll go into the idea, and I might as well put this in the bad, but the injuries, mate. The injuries are an absolute diabolical. It's terrible. We've got, of our best 22, Akers, Hill, Hamling, Alex Pearce, Wilson, Hogan, Carmack, and Sturt all didn't play on the weekend. That's 8 guys. You put them in instead of, and I know Carmack's not the greatest.
Throw in Liam Henry.
Liam Henry, potentially. Yep, Liam Henry. Okay. But you've got, let's just say, those 8 guys who have played lots of games of footy. You put those 8 guys into the... Now, I don't know any other club that has, after this 12-week layoff, has had 8 people unavailable from their best 22. You know, I looked at Essendon, they had a long injury list, but a lot of them were the outside, like the guys who are on the borderline. You know, but 8 of your best players and guys that are really key to your team. Hill on the outside, Hamling and Alex Pearce, your 2 key defenders. You know, Blake Acres, this recruit who should be good. Wilson, you're running halfback. You know, Hogan, Carmack and Sturt, 3 of your forwards. You know, and instead we play guys who aren't that great, and it's an ongoing disappointment, mate. And look, realistically, we keep talking about, and people always ask me, like that, like we're some kind of inside dudes. We're just like, we do the Dockers pod.
Yeah, same.
But we don't get it, like we get the odd bit of inside talk, but what happened with the medical team And one of our key things is that we don't have enough good squad depth that we can afford injuries like everyone else. And we just can't. And like injuries to key players, you can afford maybe 1 or 2 injuries to a key players, but not 8. Not 8 of your best 22.
I don't think it matters what team you are, whether you're contending or not. If you have 8 of your best players out of your team,
yeah, you're no chance.
You're no chance.
And the fact that we've been able to stand up and keep fighting, but I think as well, there's a lot of guys J-Lo should be looking at with a bit of a red marker pen and just going, this guy's not up to AFL level. And there's a few in the team at the moment that you've really got to think, are they up to AFL level? Mate, we'll finish the bad on the umpiring, and I know we've got a million questions on Dean Margetts, but look, I just thought these three decisions, not just the Tabs mark. Lob gets hit high and in the back, and it gets paid a mark to the opposition.
Who goals?
Cameron gets a real soft free kick at the end to put him a draw, and that was not in it when you see what happened to Lob. It's like, what was going on? And like all the anger's directed towards Dean Margetts, but it was little things like every time the Dockers had the ball, it was like play on straight away. And they were like, what? And they're like, yeah, play on. Yep. And, it's an ongoing thing that we've seen with Dean Margetts in particular. We single him out because we see it with him all the time. And we feel like, why is it that Dockers fans feel like they get such a bad run with the umpires? What is it? And like I was thinking the other day, the mark, Higgins mark that went through the line.
Yeah, and then
Yeah. All right. Tabs took that same mark and they actually called it a mark in the first quarter. I was like, if that happened to the Dockers and it was said no result, they would have gone, oh yeah, no result, out of bounds on the full. They just would have melted. Like any time an umpire melts, it seems to be when it's the Dockers.
Yeah.
Like you think about all the way back to Kerry taking the mark.
Oh boy.
And he calls for a ball up. It's like, what the hell's going on? Like the pigeon getting in the way. The Josh Carr incident where they're like, oh, do you want to take your kick again? But they were asking the opposition, not him.
Yeah.
Like Siren Gate. All this stuff seems to be like, it doesn't happen to every other club, or does it? And we don't hear those supporters talk about it. But it seems like every major mistake that stops momentum happens to the Dockers. The only thing that happened in our favour on the weekend was when a Mitch Robinson down the field free kick didn't get paid down the field.
Yes.
That was the only thing that happened in our
Yes.
But how many times does it happen against us?
Yeah. I think our Achilles heel, Duck, is the amount of free kicks that opposition players get inside, obviously, our 50.
Yeah.
To me, that's the biggest issue. And for me, the even though we ended up on top in the free kick count, the issue lies with where we're getting our free kicks paid, which are in non-effective areas for us, the areas that don't really have an impact. And the last thing I'll say is, you are right. Like because of it's not recency bias, but every free kick that is essentially egregious is heightened by the fact that we seem to get these ridiculous free kicks either paid against, or we don't get normal free kicks that should be paid. Now, let's say you're an Eagles supporter, and in that context of that game, Josh Kennedy runs into the goal square, takes a mark, doesn't get called the mark and gets called a point. You reckon the West Australian...
Yeah.
Do you reckon the media over here, do you reckon they wouldn't be banging on about it?
Exactly. I love that Duff's first thing, and I put it up on our
shout out
Facebook
Duff.
and
How you going?
Mate, Duff doesn't like Margetts, mate.
Yeah.
He doesn't like Margetts. But he was straight onto it. Number one, 7, what does he call it? 7 heavenly and 7 hell things.
Yeah.
Number one, and it's just, I mean, you put it very well on Twitter. The Dockers need to actually say, we do not want Dean Margetts to umpire any of our games. And it's as terrible as that sounds, and as much as we shouldn't be blaming Dean Margetts, we should be. But Tabs, just hold the mark.
Yeah.
Just hold the mark. Or shepherd it through a goal.
Shepherd it through.
Shepherd it through, knowing your kicking ability. Shepherd it through. All right? And, just get on them with the game and play it how it should be played. But, there needs to be something done because this guy seems to continue. I will go back until my grave, mate. I'll go back to the Dockers, Eagles. It was the Eagles home grain derby, and Elliot Yeo got caught dead holding the ball.
Oh, yeah, I remember this.
Yep. First minute of the game, big momentum, just the start of the game at night. Yo just drops the ball, 5 tackles him, swings him around 360, just drops it, and Margetts is like, play on.
Yeah.
They take it down the other end, kick a goal.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and Fife's just standing there like, what am I supposed to do, mate?
Yep.
Mate, just onto some bad. It's not some bad, some dockery. Just on the lighter side of things, guys. Fife throwing the mouth guard. I found that in this day and age of COVID and the fact that everyone has to sit away from each other, he grabbed something that was in someone else's mouth. Like, when you think about that, that's actually quite idiotic. I found it quite childish.
Did he hand sanitize afterwards?
Oh, he'd want to, mate. He'd want to. But he's
Well, I
always
think
he's licking his hands, mate. In the third quarter, and shout out to Juddy who sent me this, Tabs gets a mark on the wing and he just drops the ball.
That's the one I was referring to.
Just drops
Just drops it on his knee.
Just drops it, mate.
Forgot to take it with him.
And then
think about one thing at a
obviously in
time.
the fourth quarter, Tabs take that mark, mate. That'd be very handy. But I mean, again, as well, the number of red time goals we concede coming out at the start of the third quarter, conceding goals straight away. You know, like just.
Can I say this, mate? Mm-hmm. When's the last time we kicked a goal?
Oh, right on the siren.
On the siren.
Schultzy. Oh, unbelievable.
Can you remember the last time we did that?
Yeah. I
expected to go the
and
other
it
way.
dribbled in as well.
Yeah.
How about the goal? There was a goal that someone kicked where Cox was like diving towards the line.
Yep.
And I was like, that reminds me of every Shane Parker dive towards the line
Yeah.
goal where he'd be running backwards and the ball would just
Just
go
go
over
over
him,
it, yeah.
through for a goal. I think it was Charlie Cameron kicked one.
Yeah, boy.
Charlie, why were we never in the Charlie Cameron stakes, by the way? He's from WA.
Yeah.
Just never. Nah, don't want to look at that guy. Anyway, we'll go to a break. That was nice and quick. When we come back, guys, we'll talk a little bit about the Rezzies, and we've got about 30 questions from the listeners, so could be a long one.
Ah, come on, Duck. Have you ever had problems with computers, mate? Look.
Every day of my life, mate, is a problem with the computer.
Well, you know what, mate? I've got a solution for you, buddy. Just Make It Work will take care of all your IT problems and help you use technology to reach more people, make more money and waste less time. You can relax knowing you're in the hands of real Dockers supporters. Get on to jmiw.it, call or email and mention the Purple Rain for 20% off your first project with Just Make It Work, Duck. I suggest you get around it.
Welcome back to episode 4, season 5 of the Purple Rain with Duck and Oz.
Purple Rain.
If it's your first time listening, guys, usually in this time now we talk Peel Talk. We haven't really got much to talk about in regards to the reserves, but Oz, you've got the 15-a-side match. You had a quick look at that and have something to talk about.
It's a twos talk.
Twos talk.
The twos talk.
Number 2 talk.
Shout out to Dork Talk legend M. Judd. Shout out Juddy, who's actually providing feedback here. He actually went down to the game, did some film work there, saw Cam Mack running some water, was giving some feedback on how Cam Mack was running, looking pretty good there, which is fantastic. If you haven't listened to Dork Talk, you need to. It's a great podcast. And shout out Juddy, how you go. Now, look, for those of you who are unaware, Fremantle did play a 15-a-side reserve match at Yeronga. And basically, the 15-a-side match, the idea is just to get the full squad, get some Ks in the legs, so to speak. And Fremantle didn't have any reserves as such. So we ran 15 and that was it, whereas Brisbane were running 1,001 players through their resi, but that's fine. Captained by Mitch Crowden.
Oh, Croydon.
Yeah, no, I just like poking the bear, mate. It's
Crode
Mitch
man.
Croydon. I know. I just like poking the bear. And the coach for the development side, Simon Easto. I don't know if you're going to call it a development side, but either way. Look, we had some really great feedback with regards to certain players, and we'll start by talking about Tobe Watson, who really showed some good form in the game. The feedback was through the air very strong, running off back line very strong, good disposal. Body work was great. One-on-one contest, fantastic. And when we watched the preseason game, one of the things I said to you was, I like this kid. Plus,
Tobe Watson's got a bit about him. He's redheaded, and you need a redhead in the.
That's what I was going to say. If you go back to a grand final side, any redhead, mate, I'm telling you.
Any competition of AFL in any level,
Blood
there's
nut.
always one blood nut
There
on the
has to
team.
be a blood
Has to
nut.
be a blood nut, mate. Shout out to you, Peter Toll.
Now, very quickly, Caleb Sarong. Now, he is knocking at the door. He's knocking on the door so hard, that door is going to be busted down.
Kicking it down, mate.
The comparisons with Lockie Neal are coming thick and fast. And the thing about Caleb Sarong is that he's clean with the ball. He has skill, and he's a hard nut who gets a lot of it. But the reason why the comparison with Lockie Neal is so strong is his ability to use the ball cleanly.
Yeah.
And Brisbane rotating players through, and he was still able to take, the scruff, so to speak.
Take it by the scruff,
Take it by the
mate.
scruff.
Sorry,
I was going to say,
I'm trying to set up a new sitting position.
No, it's quite interesting. You do
You're
what
looking
you
at
get,
me
mate.
like, what the hell's going on? I'm unscrewing stuff, screwing back on. I was just like freaking out.
Mate, this is the guy that everyone wants to know about.
So wrong. So right, he's wrong.
Well, that him, but I was going to say, this is the guy that everyone wants to know about.
Who?
Jesse Hogan.
Oh, Hogs.
Now, Hogan's heroes. Look, Jesse Hogan gaining confidence.
Ooh.
It's time.
It's time.
Basically held down the forward line. One of the videos that Shout Out Juddy sent through was Hogan leading, double leads if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Went back, letting. Look, he's looking very strong, tireless in his efforts. The complaint was that because there was only one umpire, and perhaps the AFL was running. Only one umpire. Well, it's a one umpire
Juddy could have
system.
got the green shirt on,
Well,
mate.
Juddy, you got to look at yourself, mate.
Yeah.
You could be helping us there. But apparently he copped a bit because there was only one umpire
Yeah.
and they were manhandling him, so to speak.
Juddy said Matt Eagles was playing on him, the guy who won the contest.
The
giraffe?
yeah.
No, what's it called? The rookie.
No,
It's called the rookie, wasn't it?
No, it's called the contender? No.
No, it's called the rookie.
I don't think it's called the rookie.
I'm going to look it up.
Yeah, look
you
it up.
keep
while
talking
there,
and I'll look it up.
Anyway, Jesse Hogan doing really well and should be coming in this week. Okay, I think that's one of the locks, and I'll tell you why, because obviously Darcy going down, obviously he got shot again, nearly came back like Lazarus from the dead. He's been all cleared of structural issues out there, people, so breath of fresh air there. Just a little bit of bruising, they say, to the soft tissue behind the knee.
It was called The Recruit.
It's called The Recruit?
The show.
Okay.
Little bit of banter down the pub was, could you get a bet on Sean Darcy to leave the ground,
Yes.
go down the rooms,
Yes.
emerge, and start playing again?
What about go down like he's been shot?
What about
See,
just...
I think that's...
Oh, mate. I mean, I just can't. I can't. I know he's only 21. This is the thing.
Yep.
Because he's such a big boy, you
Yeah.
forget he's just 21, but
Yes.
dead set, mate.
Yeah, true.
Like, I've watched now 4 or 5 games where it looks like he is dead. Like, RIP.
Yeah.
Like,
the
if he was
Eagles
a
one in
racehorse.
particular, he looked like he was...
Mate, if it was a racehorse, they would have just got the shotguns and the
Yeah.
tarp
Look,
out.
I'm watching Yellowstone at the moment. If it was reminiscent of that, they'd be taking him out the back. And
Yeah.
putting it. But you know what? He's given it his all. That's all we can ask for, mate. These guys give it their all, don't they?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. And finally, Stephen Hill. Stephen Hill obviously heavily strapped, but played another great game. Not holding back, Duck.
Ooh.
So I think he's 100% chance
ready
to
to
play this week, you'd hope. Other players to make mention, Luke Valente.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
We got to get Valente and Sarong in. I think
Look-
they were at a bit of grunt around the ball.
Again, elite hands. They keep talking about, look, at what point do we say, look, we need to get these guys in that show that they're clean with the ball. Now, it's one thing to play in Resi's, second, another thing to go up and play AFL. And we saw that with Young, but I don't want to see Young get dropped.
Yeah.
Because,
no, definitely not.
he showed me enough that he was willing to take the game on. And
definitely not.
You know what? I think that if Willow had played, it would have eased a little pressure on Young. Purely, and I know that they probably didn't want to play both of them, but imagine having those two delivering the ball.
Yeah, let's put, mate, drop Bewley, put Young on the wing.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are we getting out of
So
that?
I'm sure we're going to be talking about this pretty
Yeah.
soon. But and Juddy also mentioned Lino Thomas played pretty well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, interesting.
Mate, can I say this? Juddy sent me a message. Tom North burst out of a pack,
Yep.
kicks it towards Hogan, about 10 metres over his head.
Yep.
I said, how did that guy not get a game under Ross the Boss? That is a Ross the Boss.
Oh, yeah.
Is that not a Ross the Boss player?
Well, maybe he thought he was still playing under Ross because that's
He's
the
like,
caboose theory.
The just kick it over,
Mate,
like
the
burst
caboose
out
theory.
of a pack,
You need a second
win
guy.
a clearance,
You need
and
a
just
choo-choo
straight
man.
over the top of the head. All right, Oz, let's get into listeners' questions, shall we? You can have. We've got
Look at that, straight
for
up,
the
mate, see
first
that?
time ever, guys. We've got 2 sheets of paper back to back.
You got one
So
for me?
there's yours, Oz. You can start. You can do those ones. I'll start with this one, mate. From young Matt McGuire. Do you think our strength and conditioning people need the boot? After 3 months off, we still have a lot of players unavailable. Our inherent list has been long and consistent over the years, and Melbourne got Harley Bennell up and running. Thoughts?
Look, first of all, can I just say shout out Harley Bennell, purely because Harley Bennell playing, I think he played just over 50% game time, but when it's 75% efficiency. Here's my question, and again, shout out Juddy. I totally agree with this sentiment. Is there any reason why we couldn't play Bennell at 50% game time when he's giving you 75% efficiency by
Get used
foot?
to the speed of the game. Get
Is
up
there-
and about.
Is there any reason why you'd have to get him so amped that he has to
Play, 12 games of Peel in a row?
In a row?
They're like, no, he's not quite up to the numbers.
Yeah.
So just get him in,
We've
mate.
said
He's
this
good
before,
enough.
mate. You name another sport where the precursor for you getting on the ground is you have to be 1,000% ready to play.
Yeah.
There are competitions out there outside of AFL, obviously. You know, we could
Well,
talk about Premier League, we
most
could talk about
people play
NBA.
injured.
You
Most
professional people play
athletes
injured.
play injured.
You
Some
monitor
niggle.
and manage, right?
Yeah.
So my question is, why couldn't we do that? I'm sure there's an answer. Now, what was the question?
Do they need the boot, strength and conditioning?
Oh, look, I don't know about the boot, but I certainly think we need to look at.
But I don't get it. Didn't we have a strong review of every part? Like, see, I don't know the inner
Well, I don't
workings
know.
of the Dockers,
Yeah,
but I
neither do
feel
I.
like the strong review resulted in the coach and the CEO getting fired and no one else.
Yeah, I don't know about that. It's not really my place
Yeah,
to
I
comment
don't
on
know
something
either.
I don't know about.
Yeah.
But at the end of the season, it's tough because there are a lot of variables there you can't control. You know, hardness of ground, existing injuries.
Isn't that what the strength and conditioning people are there for?
Yeah.
Isn't this why we
Yeah.
pay these people?
Yeah.
To stop these injuries? Like the back injuries of Sturt and Wilson, to me, are red flags.
Yeah, that's
Why
a
is an
concern.
old bloke and a young bloke both getting a back injury?
That's hamstring related.
Why?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Well, you don't know. Phil. Well,
Like,
my
why-
assumption would be, I don't know.
The thing that annoys me the most, Oz, about the Dockers is that they will report something. This is what irritates me. It's like when Hamlin got injured, right? Hamlin does his ankle, quite a serious ankle condition.
Yeah.
Injury. Now, if I remember this rightly, the initial report was, he's rolled his ankle. He's had a severe ankle sprain. Mate, he's dislocated his ankle. Like, that's terrible. Like, I know they can't just say, but like, how do the physios and the strength and conditioning people and all that not know straight away? I mean, they're professionals. They should know pretty much straight away what's wrong. So just report it. Be open and honest. Like, I don't get this kind of like, there's always like, he's kind of hurt his back, or, we don't really know. It's like they're playing like ducks and drakes with the whole competition.
Yeah.
When I feel like they're playing it more with the fans. The fans would prefer open and honesty. You know what I mean? Like,
Particularly
he's dislocated
because
his ankle and he's going to be out for a long time.
I think they're sort of, you know, once bitten, twice shy, especially with some of the injury-prone guys we've had before. But guys like Morabito and Bennell, which had so much promise, and we had so much hope in those players. But to see Bennell go out there and play, I think is fantastic. Great luck, good luck to him. But how is it possible that in an off season, you managed to get the surgery done, which was not diagnosed I don't know. I don't understand that. And then actually get up and play.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway.
I don't know. I think I don't know with Bennell. I think it's a tough summer, mate. But these
could be
guys that are injury prone.
It could be mental as well, like,
Who knows?
getting through the injury. Who knows?
All right, mate, you're up.
I'm going to go with Jeff Moritz. Jeff, shout out. How you going? Should a number of Vuvuzelas,
Yeah,
the Brazilian World Cup, Be allowed into
No,
Metricon.
South African World Cup.
Sorry, South African World Cup. Sorry, yeah. Be allowed into Metricon to improve the live atmosphere, or other ideas for Freo's first home game in Queensland.
I love that it's a home game. I would really love to have the Freo media team, who are quite crafty and are quite funny. I'd love for them to have control of the crowd noise.
Oh,
have
yeah.
a little Freo.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Freo, when we're behind by like 3-4 goals and we're starting to make a charge back in the third quarter.
That's a great
late in the
idea.
third. I'd love to hear a lot of cheering, a lot of chanting, a lot of booing, a lot of bawled. You know, I want to hear that. Like,
Nuggets!
I tell you what, Oz, I
Yep.
actually really do love. I don't mind the no crowds. I don't know why people are banging on about the crowds. You know what? To be honest, mate, I couldn't give two hoots about the crowds. I'm watching it on the TV. The crowd doesn't affect me whatsoever. I'm not like, oh, I can't stand the non-atmosphere. Like, they're just pumping in the fake noise. They've got tarps over the ground. Who cares? Like, I would watch any footy. Like, people watch footy of, like, pretty average footy where there's no crowds. Like, do people not go down to Ammos and, like, oh, the crowd's not getting into it, so I don't want to be here. Like, what the hell are they talking about? Like, it's just journo beat up, mate. They just realised that they could probably have the game without crowds.
Yeah, true.
Bring it back to suburban footy.
Interesting. The PSA Sports now on.
Now, that's a question somewhere I've got.
Is it?
I'll cut to that. Ian R says, does the PSA get or deserve dollars from the West for streaming a game a week online?
Oh,
Hale
boy.
touched up Wesley, but I believe the Waverns were missing. Oh, is that what do you call the people from Wesley College?
Wesleyan.
The Wesleyan? Yeah, I think you're supposed to say Wesleyans. Were missing quite a few of their best. Sorry, it's got nothing to do with the FFC till recruiting draft time arrives.
Oh, well, interesting thing about the PSA comp, which has always diluted the competition, is the state 18s. And the fact that state 18s during their... See, I don't even know if they're training or allowed to be part of it. That's interesting.
Yeah, that'll be
But,
interesting.
yeah, look, I asked Seals, shout out Seals, how you going, whether or not basketball is going to be, televised as well. Why not? But you know what excites me?
Well,
So
Oz,
what if,
hey,
right? Hang
sorry.
on, let me think
Yeah,
about
go,
this. Sorry.
You go.
What if, this is what excites me, what if we actually turn to a US model, and rather than having the PSA comp, if you're going to televise it, have a statewide comp, and that state competition actually now becomes like your state competition that they do over, say, in the States, where private, public, doesn't matter what school you are, but you've got your tiers, your competitions.
Yeah.
Then you're going to get players, and that's probably going to have a better result in terms of exposure for players
Yeah.
than just having the advertisement for you better go to a PSA school if you want to play footy.
Yeah, I think there's a number of things. One, PSA footy is probably being a state schoolboy. I think PSA footy is the best underage competition outside of Waffle Colts, and actually Waffle Colts as well is quite good. Waffle A Colts is very good standard, but PSA for that age group is the best standard of footy in the state. I think too, people are so desperate for footy they'll watch anything.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing. People are desperate for footy. People are desperate for local footy. I think as well, how much of an indictment is this to every other sport in Western Australia, or even within if you think about it, the West will not televise hockey games. The West will not televise netball games. The West will not televise basketball games. Like SBL, that couldn't get on the West. You know, the State Hockey League in WA, which is the best hockey league in Australia, I'm pretty sure, because we've got all the hockey replays. They ain't getting on there. They won't even play the state competition, that won't get televised anywhere. So, I mean, what type of, how big are we on footy that we don't care about any other sport? There is no other state competition. This is like an under 18s competition at school level, getting televised. Well, when we say televised, it's online, and no other sport would be like that except for maybe cricket. Every other sport, yeah. But I think as well as the other fact is that I'm not sure a lot of crowds are allowed to go, and there's a lot of old boys.
Oh yeah,
online. 3 cheers, rah rah rah. 3 cheers, young fellows.
Andrew Chamberlain, how you go? Is it true that Margette's bumped into Duffield on the street today because he can't see obvious marks?
Oh, zinger. That's a
zinger.
good banter. I like that, mate.
Oh, good for him.
Still not as good as Dean Margaret's is a cheat. I'm still putting that down as one of my favourite tweets. And the Swamp Thing hasn't got back to me on the game percentages of what's our win-loss ratio under Margette's.
I don't think he could find that out.
Nah, he said, keep. I was like, mate, you going to give it to me? He's like, higher or lower? He kept saying higher or lower. I was like, mate, just tell me.
Oh, you got to
Tell
guess.
me, Swamp Thing.
100%.
Nathan Kelly said, thoughts on the shorter quarters. Do you think they might change back to normal time towards the end of the season? Second game, we had a few more minutes on the clock and we might likely have won. I know they've shortened up to help the players and lack of proper preparation.
Yeah.
But how likely is it a player will be injured in the last 5 minutes of the quarter compared to the first 5?
I think now that it's set, it would be difficult for them to actually change it back because of the disadvantage that would cause based on, the games that could have been decided.
Essentially, it's 2 different games. You can't have 16-minute quarters. Just baffle me as well. Why 16? Of all the times, why 16? But 16-minute quarters.
Dave Mundy.
Yeah, they're like,
Oh,
who's the great? Monday.
I like this top knot.
Oh, Jesus, that's terrible. But I don't understand the 16-minute quarters. I understand it in terms of why they did in the first game. Personally, I think the first game should have been null and void. It was 12 weeks ago. So that should have been null and void. They should have said, look, we're sorry. That first game's null and void. We're starting again now. These are the rules. We're going to have 20-minute quarters because we're not going to go into one game. Because the whole idea of the 16-minute quarters is that people could play games every 5 days or every 4 days. But we're not doing that. So that's null and void, And it seems to be, Oz, that the whole fear and the whole pandemic of coronavirus, people are just like, they honestly couldn't give 2 hoots about it, I don't think. I think the general thought is there was a lot of fear at the start and now there's like, what are we worried about?
Yeah.
That seems to be the thought process.
Well, those 2 people in Melbourne going to protest that have COVID. Oh, boy. Don Young. Thoughts on Logan Tuckerduck? I reckon they were bloody great. What's your feelings on Monday? And love the man, but unsure about his role with our young mids needing to get on the park. Also, if Monday decides to keep his hair tied in a bun like on the weekend, should he be allowed around schools anymore? Looking sus.
Well, Monday with I think the top note did not suit him. I didn't like it. I'd prefer like some kind of headband.
I think he needs to pull up
for a start, or just get a haircut. I think unfortunately Monday's only got a limited amount of haircuts left as well. He's got a bit of receding.
Oh, hell, shots fired from the duck.
But no, Monday in the midfield actually got us up and about a bit, and he straightened us up a bit. So Monday maybe is a half forward that gives us that. Plays at like centre half forward and straight us up, turns straight down the guts.
Yes.
I think he was good there. Logue, very versatile, quite like Logue. Still iffy about him. And who was the other person?
Tucker.
Yeah, Tucker not bad at the start, but again, a bit sloppy with his disposal. Panics a bit on the ball, Tucker, and again, just goes missing for large periods of time, felt like.
Yeah, I think the big knock for me, obviously, is just be able to hit targets. And there's not too much to ask to hit an uncontested target.
Exactly.
I understand the contested feature there. Mundy for me, big body. I think he still needs to be in the side, but I do think he needs to have a good hard look at the old top knot there. Come on, Dave, pull up there. It's you. Go.
Billy Sansa says, does Oz provide the beats for the KO installation? What's that word, mate?
Where?
How do you say that word?
Interstitial
soundtrack. They get me toe tapping and it sounds suspiciously familiar. Make sure you chase up those royalties.
Haven't heard it.
Haven't heard it? Yeah. No, right. I've been KO.
Actually, shout out Benji. How you going, Benji?
I've been watching just on the AFL app, mate. Did you remember to cancel that?
Yeah, yes.
AFL app?
Yes,
Good.
I did. Yes,
Good.
I did.
All
yes,
right,
I did.
Nice. Good boy. All right, you're up next, mate.
No, so I'm not aware of that, but good luck if they want to use it. Josh Loveridge, do we try and bring in multiple debutants against Port in the same way that they did last week against the Crows, or do we try and play our best possible side in the hopes of getting a win? Obviously, Port was playing a favourite for the Port was playing a favourite for the spoon, and we are facing a top 8 side. So I think we shouldn't risk it, as we don't have the luxury they had, given they've banked wins and we're 0-2. If, though, we do decide to debut, who do we bring in and who do we omit? Maybe Collar and Hughes out and keep in Young. Though not a debutant, he could do with some games in a row and could see how he goes with Wilson. And bring in Valente or Sarong and let Mundy or Fife play predominantly forward. Although then you risk playing at too tall a forward line and too inexperienced in midfield. So maybe not worth the risk. Ultimately, I'd like to see some debutants sooner than later, as we might find out earlier that some are exceptional players who can slot into the best 22 and could provide proven depth for us going into the latter part of the season when injuries are probably going to occur.
Yeah, hey,
Thanks
look,
for the novel, Duck.
in terms of the, I'll just answer debuting. By the end of the hub, I think we need to see Tobe Watson play a game. We need to see Sarong play a game. We need to see Valente play a game. They're three KPIs where those guys need to have played. Now, Young has debuted already. Okay, we need to see Hogan play a couple of games. We need to see Cam Mack back, Wilson and Sturt. Blake Acres, I think, is out for a while with the calf. And Hill maybe
it's
could be back.
listed as 1 week. Gyro 1 week, Henry 3 weeks, and then TBAs, Pierce, Darcy, Hamling, and Switkowski.
But we need to see those guys in the competition and up and playing. I think if we can see the debuts of Valente, Sarong, and who was the other guy I said?
Tobe Watson.
Tobe Watson. I think if we can see these three guys debut, and it doesn't have to be next week, it can be against Gold Coast the week after. I think we really need to start to bring in these young guys and see how they go.
It's a tipping point, isn't it, mate? You can't bring them in too quickly.
Exactly, and you can't have too many of them. And I understand the whole idea of, you've got to, are we going to have our forward line, super experienced, all these good players, but then no one in the midfield. But I think you really can have a midfield with Fife and potentially Brayshaw and then a Sarong or a Valente as well, or even like a Walters. You can put one of those younger guys in there as well, rotate them through, and have a sniff from there.
Look, Duck, just quickly, in addition to that, and it might be another question, I haven't checked them to be honest, but I really would like to see Andy Brayshaw improve his disposal by foot.
Oh, yeah. He's an insider, but his disposal efficiency isn't great. What's it, around the 60s?
66%.
Yeah. But, he won a lot of clearances, so that's what his main role is, a grunt player.
That's okay, but you've got to be able to hit targets.
Yeah, exactly. As a number 2 pick as well, you got to have a little bit of skill, hopefully. Paul Heath, shout out to you, Heater.
Heat up.
Listen to Splinters if you can, guys. And Heater's on 107.9 every Tuesday afternoon.
Your dial.
Hey, boys, just wondering how do we go about getting some money back off Dean Margetts for the free plane ride over to the hub? Ass, gas, or grass. Nobody rides free, Dean.
Can you imagine if he had to ride the plane home? Like, obviously we're staying over there, but can you imagine the plane ride home if he had to ride? Mate, do you reckon players would be walking past going, oh, mate, how about that umpiring?
Yeah, jeez.
Turn it
Anyway.
Anyway,
you're up,
Chris Massara, do you guys think we should be playing guys like Banfield and Schultz in favour of more dynamic players? Once Sturt is fit, I'd like to see him as a permanent forward. Also, a side note, Ches and Brayshaw are both sitting on around 40 games. Wouldn't it be cool if they both played their 50th together and it was at Optus with fans there?
Ches and Brayshaw both playing their 50th. Yeah, that would be nice. I would prefer to see some kind of improvement from one Chera and Brayshaw just continue to grow from strength to strength. I've got a real bone to pick with Chera for some reason. I don't think that he's been overly great this year. I don't think he was great last year. I think he regressed a fair bit. I think he's slow with skills that are all right. People keep going about how good his skills are. He hardly gets the ball. So, it's a bit of a frustration for me, to be honest, Oz. I'm frustrated by Chera more than anything. And you know me, mate, once I get the hump on someone...
Yeah, it's hard to turn you.
Banners and Schultz in particular. Schultz, pretty terrible game except for the little dribble kick. Banners did not much as well. Applies a lot of pressure. But look, again, Banners and Schultz, two guys who I would say, would they get games for other teams? Potentially no. What is their main downfall? They don't really know how to play football, which is tough.
Yeah.
This is the hard thing, Oz. If you go through and you say, do you know how to play footy? Tick across. I think there's a lot of guys who would actually put a cross there. It sucks. It's like, what is going on? Like, it's so terrible to say, but their mental capacity when it comes to football is limited. They don't know how to do a lot of small things that would improve their game, and poor old Banfield and Schultz are just two guys who are just grunters that I don't think would get games anywhere else. And I think, it's just unfortunate we've got a lot of injuries. And
Banfield kicks goals, so that I'm okay with.
Yeah, but, he doesn't do a lot for long periods of times as well, mate. And same with Schultz.
Ball's got to get there. I agree with Schultzy. Ches, on the other hand, Ches is averaging, 14-odd possessions. He needs to go from 14 possessions to 18 possessions.
He's third year at the club, mate.
Look, but he's not an inside midfield player. He's on the end of the supply chain, which he isn't necessarily getting. And the other thing that we need to take into consideration is his disposal efficiency on the weekend, I think was around 80-something percent. 89% it was. So when he actually gets it and kicks it, he has more kicks and handballs you would expect. That's what you want. The delivery into the forward line was nice, but We do need to probably see more of it. But, from skills perspective, I think he is clean by foot. We need to somehow get him more involved. I can't really disagree with the other stuff that you were saying, mate.
It's interesting.
I can't disagree.
It's interesting. If you look at that 2017 draft, these are the picks: Rayner, Brayshaw, Dow, LDU, Chera, Stevenson, Clark, Cofield, Norton, O'Brien, Bonner, Fogarty, Brander, Ling, Bailey, Ed Richards, Jack Higgins, Starcevich, Powell, and Coleman Jones were the top 20. Now, I would say most of those guys have actually been pretty average. Jack Higgins, he's solid at Richmond, but I feel like Jack Higgins wouldn't be that good at other clubs. I don't know. I've just got a funny feeling about he's just in the perfect situation. But, I mean, guys like Brander hasn't played that many games for West Coast. Fogarty's been a disappointment at Adelaide. Bonner, haven't seen him play much. Lockie O'Brien, don't even know who he is. I think he's a big, tall bastard. Norton's been injured and actually hasn't been that great to start this year. Cofield and Clark, I don't know if they're any good. Stevenson couldn't get a game for Collingwood. Chair is struggling. LDU hasn't played that well. Paddy Dow got dropped from... Dow got dropped from Carlton. Brayshaw, again, we said he's pretty sloppy in his skills. And Rayner on the weekend, mate, did not much as the number one pick. So when you think about it, those 20 guys haven't set the world on fire, have they? Stevenson did, and then he got suspended for betting on himself, putting too many bets down on himself. But
I think what we talked about, Duck, which is important, but, 2020 hindsight.
Yeah. That's it. Everyone's got a PhD in hindsight, so what do you do?
Yeah, and do you trade down and get multiple picks? Like I was always high on Starcevich, mainly because we knew of him through school.
Yeah.
But
you look at these guys. This is the 20, mate. Oscar Allen, Fogarty, Tim Kelly
they're
at 24.
They're the three WA
Liam Ryan
guys
at 26.
You look at the three WA guys there, Norton, Oscar Allen, and Starcevich are in our back garden.
Yeah. Tim Kelly as well. Liam Ryan. Flying Ryan. Sam Taylor. Don't know who he is. Anyway. Mate, question from Macca.
That's all right. Plenty of time for those guys to grow. There,
Is Griffin Logue the most versatile defender in the game? Griffin Logue is the most versatile defender in the game. Can play tall, can play small. Did a good job on Charlie Cameron.
He can. There are obviously other guys out there.
Had a good game on Jaco. Is he our most versatile defender?
Oh, our?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is at the moment.
All right, cool. You're up.
Okay. Robert Palladino. Hi, guys. Despite the loss, I'm still positive and excited about the year, especially when we get all our guys back. Now, for the record, I can't stand that umpire. I don't even mention his name, and he should be dropped. If Tabs had been awarded the mark, do you think it would have changed the outcome? And on a side note, great to see Bennell return. Should we be asking questions why we couldn't get him right? Or still too early to call, Duck?
Spoken about that already in terms of Bennell. Yes, potentially we should be asking questions. Tabs takes the mark, goes back, kicks the goal. I think we potentially have all the momentum our way, and we would have had more of a sniff than what we ended up with. I'll just leave it at that. Jeremy Hayward, Tabernar is a great contested mark, but less than 50% shot at goal, particularly within 10 metres. Is non-existent in the forward ruck contest and otherwise generally liable around the ground. Drops marks, plays on despite big defenders next to him, drops the ball, turnovers. Discuss.
I think that next week will be very different because Lob will go into the ruck, one would imagine. Tabs will have to become the second ruckman. That means that Jesse, B. Hogan, and Tabs become our big forward line. And without the expectation of Tabs kicking 150 goals this year, I think it's important to understand where he's at.
Yeah.
Now, he's going to give you that effort. Like, he does have a tank. He did get to the contest. Did he bring the ball to ground? Yes. Did he make some fundamental errors? Yes. But did he provide a target? Yes. So, structurally, we do need him. My comment was basically anything inside 45 on each angle, he's probably going to miss. He needs to be like an Adokari sort of Tabs angle.
I feel like, Oz. See, I feel like Tabs, if he's on an angle, he's more chance of kicking it.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like inside so anything towards centre of goal to 40.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything from 45 to 45 within the range.
Yeah.
Inside.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Mate, tell you.
You're up.
All right. Bundy Williams, Tabernar, started as Grabinar, ended up Crabinar. He's in his 8th season. I think he's serviceable, but there are a lot of pundits out there that want him gone. Give me some purple wisdom, boys. What are your thoughts? Loving the pod.
You know who loves Tabernar the most? Jonathan Brown.
He does.
Jonathan Brown
He
loves
does.
Tabernar.
What a call. That is such a good call.
Jonathan Brown loves Tabernar
Yeah.
more than anyone else in the AFL.
He does.
And probably out there. Look, I just think he needs to be, and this is a terrible thing, because he should be the number one key forward for us, but he needs to be the number 2 or 3. Like he
Yes.
honestly does.
Yes.
But, he's playing on
Yes.
Harris Andrews, All-Australian full back. I think Andrews towed him up in the first quarter. Tabernar managed to get a bit better. And, it's just little things like actually hold on to that mark.
Yeah.
Even if someone bumps you, hold the mark. And then when you get the opportunity again, 20 metres out directly in front, or to inside the 45,
Yeah.
35 degrees out, kick the goal. Like, do the little things. If he kicks 5 straight, mate, we're banging on about him and we win the game.
Yeah.
And we're thinking Tabernar's bloody the next coming.
I love it.
Mate, next one for you is from Kelbo. How long do you think it'll take to coach the lion out of these young players and we'll see them play with confidence and freedom?
We saw glimpses of it, and when we did see glimpses of it, boy, oh boy, did the game style look exciting. A lot of positivity there.
Now, you've got a question there from Jason Osnane. If you can read that one out, mate, I'd like to answer that one.
Yeah, not much love.
love.
Shout out, Jace. How you going, mate? Not much love for the coriander in the recent game. Can anyone recommend a suitable recipe for
Now,
J-Lo?
I think that when we went through the corridor and we went quickly with a quick kick, short kick through the corridor, mate, we looked $1 million. And there was a couple of times we scored from rebound 50s where we went quickly through the corridor, bang, and away we went. And I was just like, it's so frustrating because you're like, I understand they want to chip it around the ground a lot and hold possession.
Yep.
But I don't think J-Lo's quite realised he wants to take a tactic that he got from Collingwood, highly skilled team, and implant it into the Dockers, a low-skilled team. Now, it's going to take a while, but sometimes it's got to be, all right, let's pull the trigger. When we pull the trigger and go through the guts, oh, man, we look good. We look $1 million.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's a very limited option. And it should be, rather than going long down or short down the line, it should be look inside, 45-metre kick on the inside. That's what you want. You want a little kick, not 45-metre, 20-metre kick on the 45. That's the game that opens it up. But
That's one of the things
we're
that-
struggling with that running to that position.
Well, mate, we noticed that against Carlton. They were deliberately hitting
Yeah,
up
the little
short-
45.
and that's
Mate, last one before we go to a break.
Yep.
I think. Tobias Edwards. Sad to see Darcy go down with a knee injury. Lobb as a primary ruckman and Hogan up forward seems like a great option. But what's the deal with Lobb? It seems like he doesn't want to play as a primary ruckman.
I don't know. I've never heard him say that. I agree with what
I
you're
think
saying.
that's a load of rubbish, eh? I've heard Duff. I've heard Duff say it, so I'm kind of think that it's true. But I've never heard Lobb say it. I've never seen Lobb be sooky. I've never seen Lobb go, well, I'm not playing. Mate, if you're playing AFL, you're playing AFL.
I've seen Lob with one arm go at a contest so hard that he dislocated the other arm.
And like-
that's how hard he is.
All right, let's look at Lobb.
Didn't go off the
He's
ground.
played really great.
One arm.
Really great stuff in the ruck, and he's played average down forward. Why would you want to play in the ruck?
Yep.
Why would you want to play down forward if you can get around the ball and actually generate that ball going forward? All right, Oz, let's go to a break. When we come back, we've got some more listeners' questions. Thank you very much for sending them to us. Welcome back to episode 4, season 5 of the Purple Rain. We've had a million listeners' questions, maybe a record, 32 listeners' questions. We're at Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Purple Rain 95 if you want to give us a follow. Facebook's probably the one that I will always put the question up. I remembered to do it this morning because I said I'd do it on all 3 forms. But, Oz, you might as well kick us off, mate.
Yeah, that sounds good. Sorry, mate, I've just run into the room.
You're all right, mate.
Mitchell Griffin. Do you think it's time we give Meek a go, or do you want to stick with Lob as the sole ruckman?
I don't mind the idea of giving Meek a run during the what do you call this thing? The bloody during the hub. I don't mind having a look at Meek. Now I know Meek had a really great game towards the end of last year, and he's a big boy. Meek, he's a big boy. But I actually thought that they were going to keep Scott Jones over Meek, but I think they saw a little bit of a sniff in Meek. The problem with Meek is that I think he broke his ankle towards the end of the year. He did a pretty severe ankle injury.
Apparently did well.
But he did well in the scratchy, so look, why not?
Quick question.
Yeah.
Without notice again.
Mm.
Playing 2 ruckman,
Yeah.
is that a disadvantage given how short the quarters are turning out to be?
Yeah, I think it's silly playing 2 ruckman. I think the ruckman can go off for a minute or two in the middle of the quarter, around the 8-minute mark, and come on and should be. And considering, shout out Juddy, he loves how long the quarter time breaks are, mate. Yeah. Never heard anyone win so much about breaks. How long are these bloody quarter time breaks? They're longer than the quarters.
Good.
Just quickly, Oz. Did you find that the Dockers game seemed to go a lot longer than any other game you watched this weekend?
Yes.
I thought it went for a goddamn eternity. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
This seems like the world's longest game.
Yeah.
That game on the weekend seemed like the longest game of football I've watched in my entire life.
Yeah.
Mate, and I once watched a game where the time on went for 45 minutes in Queensland at a uni games thing where they had time on, and I was like, mate, blow the mercy rule, no time on.
Oh, boy.
Oz, to you, D. Waters has said, how excited are you to see Meek debut, and does James Aish have A-grade potential?
Yes, James Aish, yes. I don't think Meek plays this week. I still think...
Do you think he plays during the hub? If, let's say...
Yes.
How long will Darcy be out for? 1 or 2?
Well...
Bruising,
maybe 2 weeks, maybe.
Yeah.
TBA.
He looked like he was training, the photo they put up.
Yeah, TBA.
All right, you're right, mate.
Lindsay Frigeri. I think it's fair to say Freo are a much better team with Lob when Lob is rucking. Do you think Lob will accept if Freo ask him to play ruck permanently? Or do you think he'll have a crack? Do you think he'll crack the shits and ask to be traded? I've been a bit of a Tabs hater in the past. How do you think he did in the weekend? I thought he competed quite well considering his direct opponent, Andrews.
Yeah, Tab's quite good after quarter time. Lob, I don't think will crack the shits. I think he's just happy to play footy, mate. I don't know this great myth about Lob not wanting to play.
Yeah, I always just perpetuated.
The great myth of Lob. This one's from Jeff Hill. Andrew Brayshaw is rapidly developing as a quality mid. Discuss, and also, how poor was Dean Margetts as an umpire, and how does he consistently get picked to umpire Dockers matches?
Well, I think if the same level of efficiency is applied to umpires as we force upon players, then said umpire probably doesn't get another game for the next millennia. But look, I think going back to the original question, Andy Brayshaw, I love in terms of his tenacity, his tackling. He is the tackler. His pressure is relentless. Gets a lot of the football, but just needs to hit more targets.
Yep. All right,
hopefully he can develop that. Darren Stralo. Do you know if there's a statue of D. Margetts anywhere? If so, I'm going to tear it down and throw it in the river.
Fantastic. Yes, love that, Stralo. Very good. Very good. This is from... I just love that one, the statue.
Oh, God. Sorry, go.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate.
Old statues, mate. It's weird, isn't it? Yeah. Hey, side note, Oz. Do you think the protesters in London know that there's a whole Churchill museum and a Churchill bunker? The war bunkers? Probably the best museum I've been to, the Churchill war bunkers.
Probably want to go back to World War II and the impact that he had on perhaps defending said nation during wartime. But I do understand there's a lot of unrest.
Interesting stuff. You know. All right, this is from Champagne Papatium. Hey, lads. That's what it's got here. Great to see we have the football back. Good to see our backline taking social distancing seriously. Cox, 0 tackles. Hughes, 0 tackles. Logue, 0 tackles. Who do you think makes way for Wilson when he comes back this week? Rather see Cox drop before Young. I thought he played okay in his first game. Thoughts?
Port Adelaide have a tall forward line. Little guy by the name of Connor Rozee can play a bit of football. The big dicks as well.
Charlie Dix.
Yeah. Oh, look, I think
If Wilson's out, I can see Dooman go out of the team, mate. I think they're quite a quiet game. I think Hughes is often a whipping boy, but he'll get a job.
He's pretty quick. I think the matchup was poor, and I think we should have seen it early.
Mate, who we're missing? Nighthouse.
Yeah.
Nighthouse is the ultimate. Is the ultimate Robbie Gray.
Yeah,
Kryptonite. Mate, you know what I was thinking about? The Sean Burgoyne tackle. I think Nighthouse did exactly the same tackle and got 4 weeks.
Well, I dare say they probably erred on the side of caution there, mate. Let's not get into that.
Anyway.
Okay. Reese Furt Byfield. Hey, lads, we could be 2-0. I think there's some good signs. Can we bring Hogan and Meek in next week, or would we be too tall? Sorry.
Too tall, slippery conditions. We're playing a evening style. I think it's 4 o'clock our time, so 6 o'clock Gold Coast time. Dewy as, slippery as. Believe it or not, Hogan made his debut this time last year in round 2 against the Gold Coast at the Gold Coast. And he played the mids for a little bit, Oz, if we remember rightly.
Yes,
but
that's right.
Look, Hogan definitely in for Darcy. I don't see Meek playing. I don't want to play Meek. I don't think there's a need to play Meek. I think Lysett is their only recognised ruckman for Port Adelaide. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm just going to go with it. I haven't watched a Port Adelaide game in about 3 years. But look, I think we've got a red-hot sniff against Port Adelaide. I think we match up pretty well. I think we've got a chance to really show what we are made of against Port Adelaide and have another sniff.
I think there's so many positive things to take out of the last 2 games that we're in the game, and we probably should have won both games. So
like realistically, we played like utter garbage for the first half of both, or the first quarter of both games.
Yep.
We didn't play that well for pretty much the next 2 quarters, and then we still managed to be a sniff. Like, that's pretty impressive. And considering our outs and our best 22, like, it kind of has got me a bit... That's why I said I love the fight of the boys. I think that's really great.
Yeah.
This one from Matt Sherrow. Shout out to you, Sherrow. Hope you're down the Mount Henry having a couple of froths on Saturday, mate. I know you love that place. Do you prefer the Eagles losing and the state melting down to us having a win from time to time? It did make my weekend a little bit easier, was the fact that the Eagles lost to Gold Coast and there was a meltdown happening throughout the state.
Yeah, look, yes. I think some of the players had meltdowns as well. But boy,
mate, Oz, I'm of strong opinion that the Eagles won't do well in the Hub. 1, they don't play well at night when it's dewy for their conditions.
Correct.
And it's slippy. And 2, that every single one of their players has a kid.
Yeah.
And they've all left their kids. Mate, you're telling me if you left your missus now with the 3 kids here for a month and a half, she wouldn't be on the blower giving you a bit of that, mate?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Exactly, mate.
Yep.
And that their mind's going to be elsewhere. They're going to have...
I'd be calling back.
25 times missuses, mate, on the phone, chewing their ear
steaming
off.
in.
That's it, mate.
Mate, you saw her come in, mate. Say hi to you.
Mate, she's got one of those, what do you call those?
Onesies. Sleeping bags.
Why have they designed those for adults?
Well, it is a bit difficult to walk in.
Yeah, but once you get in bed, you just chill out.
Yeah.
I guess you can carry babies.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, good point. I think there's something to be
anyway,
said there.
mate, you're up.
It's me. Yes, it is. Jake Hall. Charlie Cameron is clearly a star, but Hughesy surely loses his spot for Willow or Tobe. That matchup was never going to end well.
Yeah, tough summer for old Hughesy. I think Hughesy tries hard as well, man.
Yeah, he does.
He does try hard. And he's a little bit of an unrecognised and a bit of a whipping boy. So, look, Charlie Cameron took him to the cleaners. I think last year, if I remember rightly, maybe Hughes was playing on him as well, and he took him to the cleaners, and then they shifted Wilson onto him.
Yep.
And Wilson did a good job on him. But, look, I can't remember back to that game last year, but the same thing happened. Cameron had like 5 touches and kicked like 5 goals, and that was it. And that was the difference in the game. And, mate, Charlie Cameron absolutely destroyed us once again, which is always great. Slush Puppy, this guy's actual name's Mark. G'day, boys. Thoughts about this weekend's game? Do you think we should always split Fife and Walters between forward and midfield? Seems like they both... seems like having both of them in the gut sleeves are struggling up forward at times, especially with Hogan coming back in. Walters can crumb around our tools. That's looking appealing. Walters crumbing, I don't think that's going to happen. Shout out to Oz from an old Trinity old boy.
Oh, who was that again?
His name was Mark.
Doesn't say Mark who?
No, it doesn't say
Come on, Mark!
I can probably look it up, mate. If you
look
want
it up,
to.
mate. Yeah, it'd be good.
Yep.
Look, I wonder if he's an Econs guy.
Probably is.
Side note. Look, what I'd like to see, these are the guys I'd like to see. Sturt.
Yep.
Walters.
The Desert P.
Hogan.
Yep.
Throw in Tabs. They're they're the guys that are going to kick goals for us.
That's his name, mate. Mark J. Bomber.
Oh, Bormalini. Bourmers. Shout out, Bourmers. How you going?
Oh, it's pretty pumped with that.
Yeah, mate.
Okay, mate. You're up with another question.
Yeah, where was I up to, mate? It's Jake Hall? No, Adam Cleland.
Yep.
What's wrong with Sean Darcy? Why can't he ever seem to play out a game of football? As much as he won't like it, we've always looked so much better when Lob is in the ruck. Bring back Hogan and Lob to ruck.
Yep. 100% agree. Darcy, well, mate, he's just doesn't have that mental ability to overcome the
Young
injuries.
lad, he'll get there.
He's only 21.
You'll get there.
Oz, this one is from Duncan Wright. I know you said Duncan Cartwright. Duncan Wright. Did we start to see an emergence of a forward-thinking game plan for the first time in years? I like Tabs being deep in the square for most of the game with the occasional run up to the wing with the options still forward. But where's the pressure gone? Good point.
Problem is the shallow entries equal quick exits. So Tabs deep actually helped us out there. Problem is we need a real second target. I think if he's the second target, he's so much more effective. Harris Andrews, take him off Tabs, put someone else on him. Tabs takes him to the cleaner. Remember that Tabs has, for whatever reason, it's always via injury or circumstance. Unfortunately, Tabs has always had to play against a number one defender. He is not our number one forward. And the problem being, Duck, is that he's forced to play against these number one defenders that are generally pretty damn good. And he holds a good account of himself. So let's remember that, peeps. Let's not go too hard on old Tabs here, even though he does have the occasional brain fart.
All right.
Next guy is Sam Larry. Darcy is constantly injured and Chera continues to not improve. Trade bait, and if so, where is the value?
You're probably looking at, for those two, maybe both second rounders, potentially, I think. Second rounder, maybe a late first rounder for both of them. Somewhere between the 15 to 25 range. I think both those would be valued at the moment.
Hard no for Chera for me, mate. I reckon we keep Chera. We've already said Jace's. Oh, that's you anyway, mate. So go.
Mate, I'm going to read out Billy Sands's, mate, because you didn't read that one up at the top. And Billy Sands is a good mate of mine, the small forward. Related.
Oh, I didn't.
That's all right. You can read out Ryan Wilkins. If you want to read it out, you can.
No, that's all right. You go.
Okay.
Oh,
Teams have personalities. West Coast are arrogant but consummate professionals. North Melbourne are battlers but always give their best effort. These personalities are surely earned by becoming self-fulfilling as observers search for these traits in their performance, i.e. typical flat track bullies of the West Coast performance. The Kangas brought their shinbone spirit today but fell short. The Dockers' personalities is effectively to be dockery, i.e. a joke of the competition. I got a headache watching our game on Saturday. Tabernar played okay, but his 2 goals should have been 5. Sure, the ump made a mistake, but maybe just hold the ball, just hold the mark so there is no doubt. He just dropped the ball on the wing when he could have done when he could have been setting up something important up forward for and a couple of shots at goal were disappointing. Anyhow, the question is, do we love the Dockers because they are dockery? Or did we start barracking for them, expecting something else, and now we have to stick fat with them with their embarrassing idiosyncrasies? Can we ever shake the dockery joke of the comp tag? And do we really want to? Please discuss.
2 things here. Ross Lyon really tried to shake the dockery tag. Really did.
Yeah, blue collar,
hardworking,
anywhere, anytime.
Yeah. And to an extent was able to there. I mean, shout out to the old Facebook post there. I think it was seven or so years ago, maybe whatever it was, like this memory. And I was in Melbourne watching Fremantle and Richmond and took a photo of the final score and we gave them an absolute pantsing. And those were the days, Duck, where, again, it was weird for a period of 3 or 4 years where we just started expecting to win.
Yeah.
And I don't think I ever became accustomed to expecting. I mean, I was like, this is weird.
I think 2016 when we started, mate, I believe the very first podcast we did, I tipped us to get 20 out of 22 wins.
Correct. Yep.
I believe
Cue the hex. Now, on top of that, Duck, did you personally think that it was going to be as dockery? I don't know if I did. I mean, personally, I expected us to be competitive, but when you look at it, the name, the colours, the hard yakka,
The misdrafting at the start.
the drafting,
the fact that we didn't do drafts.
like as Bill
the
Simmons,
mistakes,
the
trade mistakes.
Bill Simmons would say, a lot of red flags appearing here.
Trade mistakes, the recruitment of players that were poor, the recruitment of players that we overpaid for.
Yep.
The cult heroes. Clive Waterhouse, Kepler Bradley.
Now,
Andrew Wills.
this is exactly where I was going, mate. So again, my question to you, which is based on this question, would you support a team that is just a run-of-the-mill, vanilla type, straight up and down, normal footy team?
Yeah.
Or would you prefer
I think the self-loathing
Yep.
of supporting the Dockers.
Yep.
The self-hatred
Yes.
of supporting the Dockers.
the deprecation?
You can't be a Dockers fan without feeling something. Every week we feel something. This is the difference between going for the Dockers and going for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Now, the Eagles get a little bit of feeling maybe once a month.
Yeah.
Maybe once every 6 months they get an unexpected loss and they go, oh, the Eagles didn't play well. That's week in and week out for the Dockers. We ride the roller coaster. It's like heroin, mate. We can't give it up.
Gosh.
We're junkies, mate. We're junkies for the pain. We're junkies for the pleasure.
Oh, God.
We are, aren't we? When you
We
think
are.
about why do we support this busted-ass team
Yeah.
for so long, it's because when the time finally comes, when we finally reach the peak, when we finally touch that promised land, it's going to be so much more rewarding. Now, this is quite interesting. One of my Eagles mates, and shout out to you, Junior, I know you won't listen to this, but he said that his housemate asked him, would you take a Eagles flag now in this kind of make-up season if it meant they didn't win another one in 15 years? And he said, we will win another one in 15 years. We might win 2, so why would I do that? Because this is an asterisk season. And that arrogance of those Eagles fans, where it's like, Juddy, straight away, yep.
Yeah, of course.
Take it in a heartbeat,
Oh, of
mate.
course. Tats.
Take it in a heartbeat. And I was thinking about this, Oz. Would you have taken the Western Bulldogs style flag where you've got a young team, you win a flag, but then for the next 4 years, they've been terrible.
Yep.
Like
Yes.
with a young, good team.
Yes.
And you're just continually terrible.
Yes.
But you've got that flag and
Yes.
you know you could win more, but you just take that one
I'll
flag.
take a flag.
Exactly.
And the other, shout out Footy, who said to me, who said to the group, basically, that the coronavirus coming along and the end of AFL was a great opportunity to get over Fremantle
To finally
forget
put the
about-
nail in the coffin.
and to forget about said issues of the football club.
I may have made that comment that why didn't they close the club down during the coronavirus? Put us all out of our bloody misery when we were down by like 3-0 in the first quarter.
But let me put it to you like this.
Yes,
Imagine if you're a St Kilda supporter. Imagine if you were a
Melbourne supporter.
A Melbourne supporter.
Mate, how's this? All right, this is a stat that I got sent from shout out Juddy, and I saw it on Facebook as well. And this is from the Swamp Thing, so you got enough time to do this Swamp Thing, but you haven't got enough time to reply to my Margettes. Goalless home and away quarters since the 18-team era, which was 2012 to 2020. Melbourne have 56, Carlton have 47, GWS have 46, Gold Coast have 47. The Fremantle Dockers, who were the best side in the competition for 3 of these 7 years, or 8 years, have 47 as well.
Yeah, well,
Like,
Ross
are you
Lyon's
kidding?
theory. Ross Lyon's theory is true. We just
The
got to
old
kick one more
Dockery
point.
corner.
We just got to kick 1 point before,
Got to kick one more
point.
point in the opposition.
Last question, Ryan Wilkinson. There were so many recalled bounces this weekend, Duck. Is it time to do away with the bounce and just throw up the ball instead? Also, is it time to do away with the top knot? Now, very quickly, before you answer this question, Duck, can I just ask this question?
Yeah.
Throughout the entire game, and it's not just the bounce, but through the entire game, the boundary throw-ins were exceptionally short. Yet, we did not adjust to said poor throw-ins.
Mate, I made this comment on Saturday, and it may not have been appropriate, but it looked like one of the goal umpires was a Make-A-Wish kid. He looked like he was that sickly looking.
Oh, God.
The kid looked, he looked like he was about 15 years old, sickly looking. I was like, is this kid a Make-A-Wish kid? What is going on? I'll tell you the other comment I made, but I'll do it off air. Mate, I'm actually going 180 degrees. I'm flipping that. I think watching old games, bouncing the ball around the ground actually helps with easing the congestion because it just goes everywhere. And don't recall it, just bounce it and go. Umpires come in, bounce the ball, go. Don't be like, oh, come in, balls. All right, yep, give me that ball. All right, I'm coming back, and then throw it up. They should just bounce it and go. Bouncing the ball around the ground should be brought back in, and it would actually alleviate the congestion problems. And on that note, Oz, that's the end of the show. It's been a long one, guys. Thank you very much for all your questions. Guys, remember, we're at Purple Rain 95 on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram if you want to follow us. We had... Oz, before we go, can you just cut the music for a sec? Before we go, guys, I'd really like to say how proud I was of the Dockers, and I didn't mention this at the start of their response to the somewhat racist, not somewhat racist,
yes.
the very, I guess it's kind of very, very interesting take of if the boys take a knee. And, you know, I'd just like to say, I think all the people on our Twitter that liked the post that we put up straight after, which was, it's not up to you to change. It's not up to us to change, it's up to you, which Sonny Walters said. I couldn't be prouder of a guy. And to think that we've had one game of football as a club without an Indigenous player, and for a member to be like that, mate, it just disgusts me. Like, it really does. It makes me sick to the stomach to think we're a club that's all about inclusiveness. We're a club that's all about the little guy helping everyone out, getting around each other, wrapping our arms around everyone. You know, because we're all down and out. And for someone to say that, I understand that they don't want politics in sport and they don't want their, hey, just start the game a little bit later if you can't handle it, mate. Who's that angry at people taking a knee? What the hell's going on? Who gets that frustrated about that stuff? But, you just wonder. And I'm so glad the Dockers were like, cheers, mate. Tell us what your membership number is. They should bloody send it to him. They should get Sonny Walters to take his membership back to him.
Oh, boy.
Do that, mate. Do that. Get Sonny Walters, probably someone that they've cheered and they've idolised. Get him to go around and take him the money. Do that. That's what I would have done. Say it to his face, mate. Say it to his face. That's the type of thing. That's the type of stand the Dockers could have taken.
Oof.
If we're not in this coronavirus situation, that's a really good stance they could have taken. Matter of fact, send all the boys that we got at our club around to their house. Send Liam Henry, send Pina, send all those guys. Send Michael Johnson, send Jeff Farmer. Let's get the history of the boys that played for us, the Indigenous guys that played for us, send every single one of them down there and give them $1 at a time just about because we've had that many Indigenous players play for us. That's it. It's just something that I like to have said. And I think that I really love the response of the Twitter. And sometimes Twitter is very much an echo chamber, but the response by the Dockers fans on Twitter and the Dockers in particular, first class. Anyway, guys, on that note, at Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, Purple Rain 95. Remember to please subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes or Spotify. That's where we are, plus Podbean. Plus, every Thursday, we're on the Purple Patch, guys. I know everyone that listens to this listens to the Purple Patch because we get way more listens on the Purple Patch. Anyway, all right, see you guys.
Love us all.